It's freezing here. Where you at anyway?
I'm still in Marshall, brother. One more talk tonight, and then I go.
I know you're
But
in
today
little.
is actually nice here. Today it's like 50.
Oh wow,
Yeah, it's nice, dude. It's really nice.
that's unusual.
Yeah, it's like I'm like it's like yeah, it's for like 47. So
That ain't
yeah,
bad.
it's nice. No, it ain't bad at all, dude. I walk outside, I'm like, ooh, this ain't bad out here.
Is all the snow gone from before?
A lot of it is, a lot of it. Yeah, dude. It's like because it's like I kind of got a little drizzle with the warm weather, and so yeah, a lot of it disappeared. Start to see grass already.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, dude.
Round up, homies. Come on in. Come on in.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Single.
Miss Congeniality. We got Phil Jackson, man. Phil Jackson. I hope that's a former coach of the LA Lakers, Phil Jackson, and the Chicago Bulls, man.
That'd be
What's the
cool.
talk about today? What's the talk about today, Phil? We got some cool things for you today. For you, San Diego. Ooh, I love San Diego. San Diego. Real Talk TV. I like that name.
Phil Jackson. What in the
Phil
world?
Jackson. I'm ready. Yeah, I say Phil Jackson, man. That's a coach of the. That's Michael Jordan's coach, man.
I need some money. Yeah, Phil, we need some money, y'all. Give us.
That's right. That's right.
What's up, Roundup homies? It's Haskell, your boy. I'm your co-pilot today. My mission to deliver you positive and meaningful real estate investing information and to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. We're going to be doing a weekly broadcast with my boy Mike Fritz. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, what's up, brother? It's always good to hang out with you, man. Is the weather kicking back in Hampton? Or are you guys cold today?
It's cranking up, man. It's ever since I came back from West Virginia, this joint has just been dropping, dropping. You know, the snow's coming here tomorrow. It's going to be like a
Oh,
blizzard
dude.
here tomorrow.
I know. I'm leaving here tonight, and the guy that I'm speaking for said, "Hey, what time you leaving tonight?" I said, "I'm leaving about 8:30." He goes, "Good, dude, because the storm's hitting at 9." So I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be hit. I'm gonna be flooring it, baby.
That stuff is real,
Yeah, a lot of here. Oh, dude, man, Chris and
man.
I were in the mountains this week, and it snowed. I'll bet you it snowed a foot and a half in like one day.
It
Kids,
snowed. Remember, it
your kids
started. We
loved
were
it, dude.
sitting. It started. We were sitting there. I'm like, the next day. I'm like, dang, is it still snowing? It's
Oh, and
still
dude, I went
snowing.
outside that morning, and it was snowing hard, and I couldn't hardly. I mean, I had a Ford Bronco I rented. I mean, it was a big vehicle, and it's still shoving me all over, dude.
I
Oh,
ain't going there
brother.
in a while.
No, no, man, it's good to see everybody coming in. Good to see everybody. Raise it, brother. Greetings, Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk. What up?
What's happening? What's
What that
happening?
guy? He said no. He
Print.
wish he was Phil
Yeah,
Jackson.
he wish he was Phil Jackson. I bet. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Ooh, what's up, Chris?
What up?
What's good, man? I wish I could grow a beard like that. That beard looks sweet.
Yeah, that. You know what? If I have,
I
you
can't
know
wish I
what?
could grow a beard like that,
I
man. That's
can't.
a sweet ass looking beard. I can't do that. I just can't do it.
me
Such a
neither.
cool looking beard. It's like James Harden from the NBA. He's got that awesome looking beard.
Those dudes, man, they have. Yeah, they take it to another level.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
So today, y'all, we wanted to just talk to you briefly for a few moments in time. It's such an honor to share moments in time with you, just to go over some pros and cons of single family versus multifamily. If you don't know, I am expert in single family housing, and my good friend Mike Fritz, is an expert in multifamily property. So we figured with these two worlds that are just out here orbiting each other, we would bring them together and see what magic we can come up with in the private money side and the acquisition side. Is that okay, Mike?
Absolutely, brother. I'm so excited because I think so many people. I think so many people. If you do one, you don't understand the other necessarily. I mean, I do multifamily day in day out, and there's some things you're doing with land trusts and promissory notes that I'm like, man, you got to teach me that stuff. I don't understand it. And there's stuff I'm doing on my side. It's like equities and acquisition fees, and people are like, wait, what are you doing
Mhm.
on that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a magical year for us, Mike, to bring that all together so we can broaden the horizons of not only you and I, but just the people that are actually out there in the community doing deals.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are some similarities. You still need a deal. You still need cash. You still got to get the deal done. You still got to manage the deal. There's a
Yep.
lot of similarities, but there are some strategic differences. On if you want more transactional and you want to do a deal and get a nice shot of cash and do another deal, get a nice shot of cash, it's a fantastic business. Or you want to buy it and hold it. Kris
Yeah.
does both in the single family world. You can do both in the multifamily world. There's actually some people that buy multifamily properties to flip them. And so
Wow.
you can you can buy them if they're real distressed, not a lot of tenants in there. You go and fix them up just like you would a fix and flip. So it's cool to bring these two worlds together, man.
Yeah. So, Mike, let's talk about some of the pros before we get into the bad stuff. I know it. Let's do good. I think let's start the year out with
Yeah,
good
the
instead of
pros.
bad.
Let's just do the pros.
Because Mike and I have been on several phone calls with people. We looked at deal. I'm like so many stuff we have to put in time. I call that the reps. Is that what you would call it, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's like, yep. It's like what Jim Rohn say. You can't hire somebody else to do your push-ups for you. And
Mhm.
it's the same thing, man. You just got to put in the reps. I don't care if you're calling for off-market deals to motivate the sellers, or if you're calling investors trying to get them to invest in your deals. It's putting in the reps. Every call, you're going to learn something new, right? So
Yeah.
for example, you leave this phone call, you go out and reach out to 5 motivated sellers this week. You'll be a different person the next week. That'll be an education in and of itself, man. Like to learn, oh, I can't say that. They hung up on me, or shoot, I said this, and that really got them crazy. They were really excited after I said that. You'll get an education just by taking some action, and that's the power of no matter if you're doing singles or multis.
Yeah. I think even we're getting educated, Mike. I know a couple people we talked to. I know we reconvene after the phone call. Like, man, should we done that? Should we do this? Well, could we
Oh
approach it
yeah,
differently? We're still learning. I promise you,
absolutely.
we don't have it all figured out. I'm a work in progress.
And I can tell you, Kris and I met up at an amazing resort. Kris brought his family, and I was speaking out in West Virginia. We met at this resort, and we had a day of mastermind where we're just laying out 2022 and how we're going to impact people in the real estate space. But he gave me some ideas of things I never would have thought of without hanging out with Kris that day. And that's the power of having different perspectives. Like, man, I've been doing this for years, but I never thought of that. And so it's cool to have some different perspectives. And we got a cool year planned out for, don't we, Kris?
Yeah, you too. Same thing. When you brought those ideas across, we're going to be doing this every prayerfully. Mike and I are just putting this together. That's a good thing about business. You get to try things. If it works, you keep going. If it doesn't, you pivot and you go back and you reconvene and you say, okay, what didn't work? Let's see what will work. So
Absolutely.
we're doing our best. We're gonna do our best to bring you a live broadcast every Wednesday, just to bring you up to speed on what we're doing, how we can help you, what's working, what's not working, how we crashed, how we burned, and what we're going to be trying in the future.
Yeah, this will be a master week in investing. And coming off the heck, before Kris and I were talking on there, he's holding up papers of things he's working on. Kris isn't out of this game. I'm in the middle of a contract on a multifamily deal right now. Yeah, what are you plugging away on, dude, right now?
It's an IRA. I'm doing a deal. We're wholesaling a piece of real estate in my kid's college account and my IRA. We're getting some of the money out and putting it back in.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And so he's working on that. I hopped off a call with an investor that's going to invest in our 38 unit deal in Lexington just before I hopped on here. We're in the
Wow.
deals day in and day out. And this is why we want to bring this shit to you, because this is hot off the press. This isn't theory. A lot of courses you buy out there are all theory. And it's you go and try it, and it's like, yeah, go and do this and just start cold calling people. It's like, I don't know that you want to start cold
No,
calling people, see if they
yeah.
may sell their house. But back in the day, my grandpa, he was a developer, and he'd walk up to people, knock on their door, and say, "Hey, I noticed you got a piece of property next door. You want to sell it?" Well, that
Wow.
worked back in 1970, but I do that today. I'm gonna get ran off people's porches,
Yeah, you don't want to do
and you
that,
got to
bro.
do it. You got to do it a little different, right? And so we're going to be bringing a broadcast each week where we're talk. We'll have a different topic every week. Sometimes we'll have guest speakers on where we're
Yep.
really going to be bringing a master class of investing in single and multifamily, but even with emphasis on how do you get the capital for it. Most
Money.
people,
Money.
yeah, they run up against that money issue, man. I mean, if I only had the money, how many times have you heard that in your career? If I only had the capital, if only, investing sounds good for you, but I don't have the capital. Well,
Hmm.
there's a way around that. And so, Kris and I want to help you this year, not ever have to say that again.
Yes. Don't say that. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard that. My gut wrenches. If I just had 25 cents every time I heard, I'm waiting to get into real estate till I get the money. I'm waiting
Mm,
to do this. All I need is the money. The money, money, money. I actually have shut down, Mike. I don't even try to change people's minds anymore in
Mm,
conversation and in passing. Because before I would say, "Why you waiting to go borrow?" I would try to convince them. I'm like, now when they say
sure.
it, I'm like, well, maybe you do. And they start talking about
Mm,
credit and they ready to get their score. I'm working on my beacon score. I'm like, I don't even.
yeah,
I think we were in a mastermind meeting last. Was that last night? We're
yeah.
talking
Last
about.
night, last.
They're talking about what do we do regarding credit and business credit. And I'm like, Mike too. Both of us like, man, I don't even. Like, we just go to private people, right?
Yeah, yeah. People are like, I got to build my. They say this all the time, Mike. How do I build my business credit? I'm like, forget about it and go start buying real estate. I mean,
Mhm.
and I know that some people, and I don't know, maybe Chris, people came out of always, maybe families always had bad credit, and that's a having
Yeah.
business credit feels like a level of success, maybe.
Mhm.
But I'm here to tell you, man, you don't need that. You can leverage private money, never get that business credit, and just keep buying real estate. I mean, I've never focused on my business credit, and
Yeah.
and we're buying, and I don't know if you have, but I haven't at least.
I never have. I mean, we
No,
promote it
yeah,
here, and a lot of people do use it, and I think it's a great
sure.
tool for some individuals. But I just don't
Hmm.
want them to think that that's the only way
That's
to
the
do it.
answer. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
It's just not. It's not. Yep. It's just not. And so, yeah. I mean, and one of the things that I think, man, we got to start doing is, what do you want to accomplish in 2022?
Yeah.
What do you want to get done? Chris and I were talking about this in West Virginia. Somebody asked us where we were. We were at a place called the Greenbrier in West Virginia. Man, it was a beautiful resort. It's huge.
It was beautiful, but you're not gonna see too many of my people up there. No, I was giving Mike a hard time. I'm like, I don't see I don't got no cousins around here.
Chris is being crazy. Chris is being crazy, man. But hey, he was. But hey, that's
Beautiful.
the thing, man. You were starting a movement, brother. We got to get.
That's
We got
right.
to. We got to end that, man. We
That's
talk
right.
about that. We got to end that,
Hey,
and that's
man,
that's what I love about this.
part of life, right? So we're
That's
breaking down barriers and moving
that's
on.
right. That's right. I love it, man. I love it. But I do think that this year, so I think that when I started off investing in multifamily, one of the things that kept me from doing, like, I was doing like duplexes, smaller deals. But
Mhm.
before I went to $1 million deals or more, for me, the number one thing that held me back was, I'm like, you must have to be a millionaire to buy a building like that. You must have to be
Mhm.
worth
It
millions of
feels
dollars to
like
buy it.
when you're walking
It does.
through it and looking at it and look and just kind of living in it, it's like, how in the hell?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then you get, and you don't, and then it just stops you. You like, are all of a sudden you're like, yeah, but I can't do that. That ain't me. And I was there, brother. I was there, man. And
So what
it's
changed your
good to,
perspective, Mike, regarding? I know you said you had a mentor drop that on you, but I want to
yeah.
make sure I bust through that quick and get to some pros and
So I
cons.
was I was on Google one day, probably a lot of the same reason you guys found Chris Haskins. I was on Google and I Googled, how to buy big apartment buildings, and that's how I worded it, how to buy big. Now, big is relative to different people, right? And I saw this guy's name come up, and I got on his website and it said book a call. So I'm like, sure, I'll book a call. Booked a call. Somebody got on, kind of told me about the mentor. The mentor didn't get on the call with me, but one of his people did. Told me about who it was, what he did, and how he helped people. And so I bought into his mastermind, and got into a inner circle coaching group, and we met once a week, and so it gave me somebody when I had a question I could go to, and I said one time, I said, yeah, but I want to start doing bigger deals, but and before I could state my real obstacle, which I just don't have the money, I said, before I can do bigger deals, he interrupted me and he said, yeah, you need a bigger mindset.
Ah,
He interrupted me. I was
mindset.
going to say, I need more money. He said, that's not the issue. You need a bigger mindset.
Mhm.
And so he didn't even let me finish the sentence. And that's when it started to change for me, where I was like, you want to do, so some people do a fix and flip, or you're like Chris and you do multiple at a time. Like, he's got three, I think he said, going right now. I mean, you do
Mhm.
multiple at a time. That's a scale. That's growth. Well,
Yeah.
that's a mindset, right? And so that's when it started to change for me. How about you? What shifted in your? Because you came from an entirely different industry and came in to and started teaching financial literacy. What was the big shift?
Yeah, I had two big shifts when I was in the music business. That shift was a consumption mindset. How
Mm,
much can you spend? Where can you go? How much flash can you do? That's a horrible thing for my culture, right? I wish I wish that wasn't prevalent in my culture, but it is. So now I get to work to change the narrative of that, right? So I was in a consumption mindset. And when we got that publishing deal, just all this money, I ended up consuming it all. I figured, and then that's when I got into real estate. But then it took me more. It's crazy you say mindset. I felt like it was a resistance,
Mm,
wanting to spin versus investing, spin versus investing. Now it's like every dollar I earn, I invest first, then spend what's left, as opposed to earning, spend first, and investing what's left. I just think that that mindset is just so huge for your success.
mm, mm. Yeah, and just so you all know what kind of person Kris is, in case you think he's not, Kris and I did a live event a couple weeks ago together, and we did a joint venture. And anytime you do a joint venture, you have a percentage of profit on both sides of the partnership. I send Kris percentage of profit. He calls, says, "Mike, how do I invest? Where can I any place to invest it?" He's thinking investment all the time. He's not thinking consumption. He's broken that. And dude, that I would say that I think that's a big piece is invest first, spend later. That's a hard thing to change. You
Oh
know what I mean?
man,
I mean, it
a
was
lot.
it was for me, and
God.
now I almost have the opposite issue where I have to force myself to spend. It's like I have to push myself to buy things that strengthen my mindset. Because
Yep.
once I mean, there was a day I would never pay for valet parking. Today, I love
Oh
to
man.
tip people. I love to give them people. I love to give the people serving us. I love to serve them, and I'm
Yep.
like, that's great. And it's another blessing, but it also raises my mindset. Like, man,
Hmm.
because back in the day, to me, rich was valet parking, baby. You pulled up, hand the keys, give a tip,
You
and say,
made it.
park it, take care of it. That was making it for me, right? And so, of course, now that's crazy, but it's only $20. And so,
Yep.
but my point in saying that is but I couldn't bring myself now. Now it's like, no, I wanna do that. I want to give more. I want to live a lifestyle, not where I'm throwing money everywhere. That's not how wealthy people think,
Abundant mindset.
but abundant mindset. So there's in I think that's a if you want to go to the level of wherever you want to go this year, if you want to get to maybe $1 million status, maybe you want to truly be a millionaire, or so that you can give and whatever it is, whatever your passion is, it is going to take the mindset. It's
Hmm.
going to take that mindset, and that it's going to take abundant mindset.
So let's talk about some of the pros. We got about 15 more minutes, Mike, before we get out of here.
Yeah,
Let's talk about some of the pros. Why multifamily? And then I'll tell you single family. We'll go back and forth and get your questions in, round up. Please get
get
your
them in,
questions
get
in.
them
I
in.
love questions because that helps us to give us some direction.
Yeah,
Members' questions will be answered first. If you're not one of our members, you may be a subscriber, but a member is for our membership is for full-time entrepreneurs and busy professionals. We'll get to those questions first. There's a join now button right there below for everybody but iPhone users. You can't join with the iPhone, so you got to go to the computer. It's going to cost you nothing but a large Starbucks coffee a month, and it helps me to keep bringing people like Mike on, and helps us to keep producing this content. Multifamily, Mike, give us a pro for that.
oh man, so pros for multifamily are a couple for me. Number one is you get more units per footprint of property, more streams of revenue. So for a multifamily, if one tenant moves out, you're not stuck paying all the bills. You have more people, more revenue coming in versus just one piece of revenue.
Mhm.
One of the other reasons I like multifamily, I like commercial multifamily. The difference is 4 units and below is considered residential multifamily.
Mhm.
5 units and above is considered commercial. Is in commercial, they see it like a business. And so if you increase the rents, you actually increase the value of the building. It's what we call forced appreciation. We can actually control the appreciation by raising the rents to market rate. And so I like multifamily because you get multiple streams of revenue. Plus, I love it because we can force appreciate those buildings, and so and they appreciate really well. Let me tell you another reason why I love multifamily, and this will include single family too. But we are 5.5 million units short in America right
Good
now.
God Almighty.
Demand ahead of supply. We need 5.5 million units more than we have right now, and that means
Mm,
buying
mm, mm.
multifamily is going to be a good investment, or long-term buy and hold. That goes for single family too, as Kris will talk about in a minute. But people need places to rent,
I'm
and
telling you,
so yeah,
rent is
you
like
got to get
gold,
in on
right?
this
It's
game.
like gold
Oh,
right now. I mean, it's like the
it is
value of rental is just
skyrocket. In appreciate or inflation is going to hit renters. It's going to hit rentals the hardest, meaning rents are going to raise, and so owning
period.
rentals your value is going to raise with inflation.
I'm
And
just thinking
so
about myself, Mike. I want to ask you. I don't want to sound. I don't want to sound like I'm crazy. When my daughters, I tell them, I'm like, I'm gonna give us a raise this year. I'm looking at my lease is coming new. We literally raised the rents to give us. It's like we can
mm,
control our future. And I don't
I
want to
love
sound
it.
like I'm too above beyond, but I'm like, I just don't want to participate in any recession or any of that stuff. We get to step on the gas, raise rents, and we're in control of that, Mike.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And that isn't that amazing? You get to give yourself a raise. Oh, and by the way, how much more work does that take you?
Oh, I did have to
Same
type the
amount of work.
letter. I had to
Yeah,
type
you
the letter,
okay.
did that, mail it out. I'm
Great.
being facetious. I
No, I
want
know,
people to
but
know the truth, right?
yeah, no, yeah. You had to spend 10 minutes typing a letter, but it's true though, right? You had a minute to where you put a little bit of investment, but I mean, you can
No
control that.
work.
So that's why I love multifamily, man. And multifamily right now is a really sexy asset. So as you're raising capital for real estate, a lot of people want to be parked in multifamily right now. And so it's a great place to be if it capital raises pretty easily for multifamily right now. So that's that's why I love it. How about you
Sweet.
for singles, brother? Why are you a crush it monster in singles?
So I want to stay with forced depreciation a little bit. I want you guys to understand the difference in the two. Mike's forced depreciation in this is in the building and the value add. Is that what that is, Mike?
Yep. So that's why we look for what we call value add. That's where we can increase the value of the property
Mhm.
by increasing the income or decreasing the expenses. Both of those increase the value, by the way. Because if you're
Forced.
decreasing the expenses, you're increasing your bottom line. All we're trying to do is increase that bottom line, whether it's through increased rents or decreased expenses. So if you buy a property and it's at 47% expense, which is pretty high, and you can get it down to 37, which can be done through a really good structure, that's 10% increase in your income, right?
Sweet.
And so that's a value piece as well where you can decrease that. So yeah, you can force appreciate that building. I love that.
So the appreciation in multifamily is different from single
Hmm.
family. So a 3 bedroom, 2 bath ain't gonna rent for so much in different markets. I mean, it's just what it is. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it goes a
But
lot more by comps and square
comps.
footage and et cetera. Yeah. Yep.
But I want people to understand forced appreciation. I'll never forget my mentor sat me down and explained what it meant in single family.
Mm,
Forced appreciation is actually it happens outside of the property. So right now, I just feel like I get to live a dream, right? I own a piece of real estate that's a couple blocks from a brand new casino that they're building in Portsmouth, right? And it's just amazing. I can only thank God.
yeah, right. That's
So
that
for
property's gonna skyrocket.
Oh man, I'm already yeah. So
You just blow
when I
up,
say
dude.
forced depreciation happens, say the house is here, you got new shopping coming around, you got things that are
Hmm.
happening around the property that actually force the appreciation. So a house that's located there is going to be worth more than a house that's located in a rural area and close to no shopping. So
Mm,
shopping centers kind of add forced appreciation to single family real estate. So when you go around, I don't know what city I don't care where you live in the whole country. The closer you are to the shopping districts, the more valuable the real estate is. And so what these guys have done is they have created forced shopping districts in certain areas to make that value go up. It's truly amazing when you go to different any town in USA to see that forced appreciation, which is cool. When I hear you talk about it, Mike, it's like apples and oranges. It's completely
yeah,
different.
sure. Totally. And I think that's a cool concept to think about though. That no matter what you're looking for value add in a project, whether that's
Value
to fix
add.
and flip or whether that's to buy and hold. Right? You got to look at that value add component, and that's where.
Yep.
And you're right, Chris. And singles, improving the curb appeal is gonna take your value up. But again, you got to remember or what happens around like shopping centers, casinos. You got to remember when you're looking at properties, we make money often, most of the time when we buy.
Mhm.
Right, so buying in the right areas, buying the right types of properties that have those value add
Crucial, man.
components. That's when we make.
Crucial.
That's where we make our money.
So a lot of times when in single family, you can see. Well, I didn't know that casino was coming, but if you go to
For
this
sure.
city, you can see. You can ask for them. Matter of fact, it's usually on the internet now. The city master plan.
That's a great point.
Master plan, y'all. So when you just Google your city master plan, it's right there. I didn't even know this. It's right there. It'll tell you, well, they plan on putting this, tearing this down, moving that over there. So installing a light rail, putting a train station down here, so you'll know. And those little train stops, they really do help. They make it more desirable for people to live there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what's another thing, Mike, then for multifamily keeps you in that stuff?
Yeah, so multifamily for me is the positive cash flow. So it has cash flow, and the reason why I like to raise money for multifamily is the demand is huge, and so as I'm raising capital, I'm making cash flow every month. So I make cash flow every month on my deals, and guess what? I don't put any of my own money into my deals.
Sweet.
I don't put money into my own deals. Looks like we got some questions here.
Yeah,
too,
man. Might as well use
let's,
here's the
yeah,
one.
let's do some real quick. Yep, go for it.
Sanary Lim. Hey, Sanary Lim. Can you do subject to with for multifamily properties? I love this.
This is a great question. The answer is 100% yes. I've actually done it on a 3-unit building I owned in Michigan. We still have that building, actually. We did a subject to, and ironically, it was a conglomerate of financing. They had a seller financing between the seller, the buyer. So the person that lived there owned it, and they bought it seller financing from the seller. But guess what? We just took over his seller financing. The sellers didn't care. Somebody else was paying it, just took it over. And so absolutely you can. And Kris is the subject to ninja. And so he's like a beast in that space. So you would probably know way more on that subject than I do. I just know it can be applied to multifamily as well.
Yep, multifamily, single family, commercial, a lot of this stuff, seller finance. Well, they may call it something different. A lot of people call it seller financing, but they're kind of hybridizing it by creating another deed as opposed to saying subject to Sanary.
Yeah. Yep. And a lot of times seller financing is with the seller. When subject to, you're taking it over if they're mortgage, so they're kind of almost out of the deal in a sense. So there is a little nuance there, but you're right, Kris. A lot of times they call it just seller finance.
Same thing, because when they sell it, they got a loan on it. They just don't. They're not calling it sub to. Yeah.
Bingo. That's exactly right.
Shelly Ann, is self-directed IRAs best for real estate? Mike, your take.
Ooh. So I'll tell you, for multifamily, they're my favorite investors. Is a self-directed IRA investors, and it's because sometimes multifamily you buy them because they're value add. If you have to add the value, then what doesn't exist in the property currently? Value, right? Because we're adding it. So the nature of a value add is the first year or so you don't make a lot of money, but on year 2, 3, 4, start making really good money. Well, in an IRA, they can't touch it anyway. So none of my IRA investors care how long it takes because they just want it working for them. So they are the best type of investors. And if you have an IRA, yes, get your IRA, empty that baby into some great cash producing real estate.
Yes. So we're real estate people. Learn the strategy every time. Not every day, but frequently I think about Warren Buffett. He says, "Man, learn one thing and do it great." As opposed to trying 100%. To learn all this stuff.
Yep.
Shiny objects. Where can I use my name? Oh,
by multifamily, or do I have to own it in an entity? Good question. The answer is yes, you can, but no, you shouldn't. You can own it in your name, but I would encourage you to put a LLC on each property to limit your personal liability to that property. And Kris and I are going to talk again. I actually know some people using the land trust concept as well for their multifamily.
Multifamily too.
I've got a buddy that I almost bought a big 133 unit deal for. I looked for it, I couldn't find it. Like, who the heck owns this? I can find any of it, and it was because he had it in a land trust.
Sweet. BL Warthen wants to know: did they have to use their? Does the commercial loan have to be in an entity name, Mike?
Yes. Yeah. Well, if the property's in an entity, the entity needs to be with the commercial loan. If you own the property in your name, then your name has to be on the loan. So it just depends on whatever owns the property needs to own the loan.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, keep the questions coming, Mike. So we got a few more minutes here. I guess give me a downside to multifamily, brother, so people don't think it's all easy and make money and before you go to sleep and the money just shows up.
So the downside to multifamily is the management. So management companies tend to do better with single family than they do with multifamily because there's a little bit different nuance to management. For example, the utilities. Well, with multifamily, there's often three utilities that are shared: water, sewer, trash. And so those three utilities are often shared by the tenants, and managing those shared utilities in a way where the tenants are still covering their piece and the owner's not absorbing all that cost, that takes a little bit more management. You have sometimes when you have a lot of people in one location, you can have a little bit more drama. And so you got, a little bit more drama, somebody all of a sudden, I mean, we had somebody fall out of one of our second story windows one time because they were on substances that are not legalized, and
Wow.
now they fell out onto the yard and they were safe and fine, but still, people fall on those. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! And so it was
Wow.
actually, ironically, it was in that 3 unit that we did sub to. But yeah, they just fell out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely crazy. So you can have a little bit more
Scary.
drama now again, I those are those things can be mitigated, but because there's not a property manager on site, a lot of times things can happen when you have a community with no community babysitter.
Hmm.
That's a downside for sure. You have to have good management.
Well, I just look at you as you're like the manager of the managers, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I have to be. So I have a property manager that collects all the rents and turns the tenants and makes sure the property gets mowed, and if it's lives where it snows, then gets shoveled and all that kind of stuff. And then the manager and I talk on a every other week basis, making sure everything's in. But that's the thing. I'm checking in with them 2 times a month. Sometimes not
Hmm.
even that much on some of my properties that are running well. And so that's
Sweet.
the thing. It is a
Sweet.
it is a cool hands off management as long as you pick a good one.
Gotcha. So manage Mike on single family, so you can decide to manage them your own. I don't even think you could or should manage multifamily, Mike. You have to be the manager of the manager, right?
Bingo, bingo. Yeah, 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 yeah. 100%,
So
hundred
you
percent.
need to learn have some delegation skills. So with the single family, you can choose which one do you want. You want to be self manager guy, or do you want to be hands off guy with property manager? There, I will say from my experience, it's challenging to find a good single family home property manager just because it's just the profit margins are so small. They are out there. I do know if I have finally met a few in my local marketplace. But for us, I do kind of the hybrid of self management because all of our tenants are either owner financing. I'm sorry, lease option, which is I'm just a bank. I mean, there's nothing to manage, but you have to manage collecting the money. They don't even give it to me. They just take it to the bank and deposit it. Oh, Section 8, and Section 8 just does direct deposit in the bank. So, I mean, we do the 1 year inspection. So it's not like that's why when you see my content, very rarely do you see me at one of my rental properties, man. I mean,
Hmm.
we have a guy
Yeah.
that goes out and does all the maintenance. I mean, I'm very hands off on that part.
And so, do you have one manager that manages all of your rental property, Chris, or do you have multiples, or just one
One
person that
guy,
does? Yeah, sure.
Bernard, if we have a problem, he give him a call. Goes out and takes care of it. I'm hands on when it comes to the tenant screening and collecting down payments from my lease option tenant buyers. But other than that, not really
Yeah,
much to do on mine.
sure. Yeah, that's cool. That's
But it
great.
is something to do though. You will have to do some work.
Yeah.
So get your questions in, round up. My gosh, let's get us out of here, man. So not using your own. Oh, here's somebody who wants to know. Maisha, hey, what methods do you use to avoid using your own money for deals? Also, how do you finance repairs on subject to deals? I'll let Mike go and then I'll go, or
Yeah,
either way.
so we raise private capital for our multifamily, and then we get loans. So we raise the down payment and our acquisition fee and the closing costs, and then we get loans for the rest. That's how the commercial space works. Is you get loans along with raising money. So I don't use any of my own money in my deals because I raise the capital from investors in order to do that. The cool thing about that model is I keep 30%. And some people are like, yeah, you're doing all that work for 30%. Yeah, I am, but I can do it over and over and over again. And I can own 500 units and own 30% of all of them. And I can keep scaling because, I mean, sooner or later, we all run out of money. I don't care how much money
Yep,
you have. I
don't
mean,
matter.
I mean, the old story of Elon Musk when he sold his business PayPal for 180 million, he invested 100% of it, and 4 months later had to borrow money for rent. I mean, the idea is that the idea is invest all, so we all invest our capital at the end of it, and then you get a leverage capital. And so learning that skill is the way to go.
So I think Mike, I did not even know. I want to hopefully maybe open up somebody's mind here today. Do you realize that there are a group of people out there that will finance your entire real estate portfolio? They exist. Like Mike uses a hybrid from private people and the bank. So we don't even use the bank at all. There are people like as long as you know where to look and how to set it all up, which is something that Mike and I are working on together with Ignition Inner Circle, people will finance your entire real estate operation.
Yep,
Ordinary people, they'll do it for you. They have more than enough capital. The banks is just one way to buy a house.
absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
one
You know
way.
what I love think about that is literally people finance our net worth.
That's
Like
it.
like my whole net worth is financed by somebody else. That's how
But
you think
let's
about
make
that.
sure we frame it up, Mike, because the value that you're, it's not like they're just saying, here, Mike, go
Yeah,
get
no,
rich.
not at
The
all. No,
value
not at
that
all.
you're giving them,
Yep.
you provide the value first, and then they say, "Mm, okay, I'll do that."
Yeah.
So you give it,
Yeah.
you're building this value add.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, I'm saying that they're financing me to build my net worth, but they're also paying me to build theirs, right? That's why they're paying me that percentage because
Mhm.
I'm building theirs. And so 100%, Chris,
Sweet. Okay,
that's a great point to do that. And
it's a
Chris, you
value.
answer that subject to piece because that you're the subject to ninja.
Yeah, if, Maisha, sub two repairs. We just if I have to do some repairs, I'm presuming that you don't have the cash to do the repairs. That's the thing that I struggle with. I don't know if I want you buying and owning a bunch of real estate unless you have some reserves. Now, you can
Mm,
obviously go keep borrowing, 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 borrowing. However, there comes a moment in everybody's life where you have to say, you know what? Is there enough equity to even borrow against it? Because my shit, I don't want you because you're buying it sub two probably because there's no equity. So if you put a private lender in there, then you borrow more than what the house is worth, and you can't make the payments. The whole thing can fall apart. So I'm gonna say for you, if you're buying below market value, try to have some reserves for those repairs, and or use a private individual. But you gotta make sure you treat people's money with the utmost respect. Treat it better than your money, and people will give you
you
money all day.
absolutely, man.
Mike,
Absolutely.
we gotta get out of here. I gotta get the girls, man. Final thoughts on
All right, sounds
multifamily
good.
versus single family.
I think that neither is better. Chris and I just do different things. So I want you to understand. I actually am going to debunk a quick myth, Chris, before we get out of here.
Okay.
Multifamily seems to be the place everybody wants to go, and it is a great asset. It's what I've devoted my whole life to learn. But understand, if you're a wholesaler or a fix and flipper, you can build a very good revenue stream. So it's not. I do want you to get into the buy and hold game at some point. Don't just sell everything you own because you need to start owning things. But understand, multifamily isn't this thing way up here that someday you can get to. You can start doing it today, but single families also bring. I mean, I have a lot of people. Chris is one of the main ones. Built a very, very, very great net worth and a great life off single family. So it's both have strong benefits. Just so you know.
Yeah, Mike was saying the other day when we met, you're like, you were telling me about Dave Ramsey and Robert
Hmm.
Kiyosaki.
Yep,
Both of them are rich.
very wealthy.
Both of them are wealthy. You know,
Yep, one leverages debt, one does not, but both are wealthy.
but what I mean, is there any difference, Mike, from four? Okay, regarding lifestyle, regarding
No,
living a comfortable, let me rewind.
no.
Regarding living a very comfortable life, 40 million
Yes.
to
Yeah,
140 million. I mean, you living
yeah. No,
okay on both of them,
no.
right?
That's exactly right. So Dave Ramsey's got a $50 million net worth. Kiyosaki's got a $450 million net worth. Dave Ramsey no debt. Kiyosaki 700 million in debt. And so the one would say, see, debt is the way to get rich. Well, $50 million net worth, you ain't that'll
You're
do.
doing okay.
Yeah, that'll do. And so either way is a great way to go. You just
Uh,
have to see what's your palate. So, alrighty, brother, great to hang with you. We can hang with you. We're gonna hang out more times this year, ain't we, Chris?
yeah, we got three other things coming. If anybody interested, matter of fact, I'm going to put the link in the video
Sure.
description. I'm putting it in now. It wasn't there. You're going to have to refresh it. If you're interested in learning more about how you can work with us one on one, the real estate investing ignition inner circle. We're going to be having our first live conference
Workshop coming
seminar
up.
and workshop in Houston. Mike, you want to tell them real quick if they want to just get more information? I'm going to put that link so they can give us their email
Link.
address.
Yeah, awesome. So Chris and I put together this year as we met. We really want to impact the real estate community. So we launched the Real Estate Ignition Inner Circle, the REIC we call it, And the idea of this whole inner circle is how to raise capital and get real estate. We have people in there doing commercial deals, storage units, some people doing single family homes, Airbnbs, student housing. All of it is because they're raising capital. And so the whole point of this mastermind is to help you get off the ground, get your capital game on point, and we want to help you. And so our first workshop's coming up, but it's a year-long commitment into a group of people that are going to help you. Yep. And it's just Kris. It's Kris and I. We're not farming out the training. You actually get us training you in an inner circle room a couple times a month, and you get us at some live workshops, closed door, only you can come kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, Kris is going to put that in the description. Click on it for a little bit more info.
Sounds good. Round up,
Alrighty, buddy.
hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm at 91,000 subscribers. I need your help. I need your help. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. Tell all your friends and family. We're going to pass this 100,000 subscriber this year thanks to your support, Round.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are,
right,
brother. All right, see you guys.
Soon.
Have a good one.
Yep.
See ya.